There we go. And we're up. So we got a special guest today. Chris is listening to us on the radio. This is our big moment, man.
I don't think he is going to listen to us.
You know what? We'll see. Just hit him with, did you catch the show? And see that reaction. Oh.
I think I screwed something up. On my end.
I saw it on there.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, why can't I spell tonight?
Those days, man. One of those days when you've been working too hard. Oh, boss.
And look at that transition there, Jeff.
Beautiful.
Oh my gosh. Hey, welcome back to Adulting
Kind of.
with Zach and Jeff. We are bringing you this is season 2, episode 3, hosted by WDSR. Hey, if you want to check us out, follow us on Instagram at adulting with _Z with _J, or you can email us at adulting with Z and J, or you can follow us on Facebook. Mine or Jeff's page. I don't think I tag you in anything. This Facebook thing's going away, though.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's
Nobody uses Facebook anymore. Or
I,
Meta. You gotta call it the right name.
whatever it is. This thing, it's too it's too complicated. What I would like to do for my listeners out there is they track us. They don't care how many views I get on Facebook or YouTube. Also follow our YouTube channel. Definitely do that.
Yes.
Nobody cares about Facebook.
Meta.
Excuse me. Nobody cares about Meta. But listen to our link, because that's how the university tracks us. They track our numbers, and the more people that watch means the more things that I can do bad and get away with, like forgetting to turn a thing on, or maybe not cleaning up after ourselves. So if we have more listeners, it allows Jeff and I to be a little more lazy, and be a little more,
we might be able to get away with a swear word or two.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Like, oh, just be careful.
That'd be
That's
cool.
going to be the golden day.
Yeah, I like I could see like us dropping like a bad word or something like towards the end, right? Towards the end or whatever, just to be like rebels or something. But that's not like a goal of mine. I mean, I want to work in the parameters which I am given. Hey, are we getting started late? It's already 8:07.
Oh wow! No, time is flying, man.
Oh
We're
my
having fun
gosh,
here.
I am so sorry about that. I wasn't. Yeah, I feel prepared today. I actually feel a lot better. This Labor Day weekend was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, me too.
Absolutely
Mine too.
amazing. This is the first time this semester, which I know it's only 2.5 weeks in,
No.
that I feel refreshed, caught up.
Oh, speak for yourself. I do not feel refreshed or caught up yet.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, no. I got a bed.
You sleep on the ground before?
Well, yeah, essentially. So I bought a bed off of. Did I not tell you my bed story?
No.
Well, you might have saw. Oh, you didn't see it when you watched my cat.
I mean, I wasn't going rummaging through your stuff. It was feed
Yeah.
Athena, and that's it.
So I bought a bed off of Facebook Marketplace.
Uh-oh. How was that?
It was good. I mean, it was fine. It was a good price.
Good
Nice
price.
bed.
All right, perfect.
But I put it together, and I did the thing where I didn't pay attention. Like, so I just like I put the screws in like halfway and like give up. Like, oh, like my wrist hurts, and then I knew like my thought process was, if I have enough screws in there, like it'll figure itself out. Like it'll just hold up, right? That's how screws work.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening is it's really like teetering or whatnot. And one night Athena jumps on the bed, and then the bed falls. So it's like slanted. So I had a slanted bed for 4 months or whatever. And then like I took piece by piece until I just had a mattress on the floor, like a lot of young early 30 guys do in their 1-bedroom apartment. That's very inexpensive. So I actually have a bed. Jody ended up putting it together. Like she did everything. Like I did absolutely nothing. Like I held the bedpost up straight so she could
So you held the flashlight. She did all the
Yeah.
screwing and the
And-
wrenching and everything.
And like sometimes like when you have to do like menial tasks, like sometimes you half butt stuff, like you so you don't have to do it. I wasn't trying to do that. Like I wanted to feel like I was, a part of it and supportive because she was doing such a big thing for me. But I still wasn't good. Like I was having a hard time holding the thing straight. I'm just not mechanically inclined. Like that's just not who I am. That's just not who I am as a person. So,
Nothing wrong with that, man.
but my life is so much better. Like I have felt so like
Better sleep, all that good stuff.
better sleep. I just feel more prepared. Like I woke up late for class today, like by my own, because I'm an idiot. It wasn't like an ignored alarm clock. It was, I set my alarm for the wrong time. And so I'm late, and I ended up being fine because everything was put where I needed it to be. It was just, my life has gotten
Nice.
marginally
Yeah.
better of the weekend. A lot of that was thanks to Jody. So Jody, if you're listening, thank you.
Keep being awesome.
Keep being awesome. Keep being awesome. She
She's a treat.
yeah, she absolutely is. Remember that time that we threw you a surprise birthday party and I took all the credit when really it was Jody and the rest of the.
Yeah, I remember that. We almost got kicked off for popping balloons because the veterans were scared.
Oh yeah, that was so weird. But cool place. So let's get this going. We're not gonna. I have my notes written tonight. Hey, tonight we're gonna try to talk a couple things. We're gonna have a special guest tonight. Unfortunately, he had something come up, so you get Jeff and I. So it'll be fun.
You're stuck with us whether you like it or not.
Yeah. So I've been getting a lot of feedback, right, about the show, and what I keep hearing is like, "Hey, we like it when you go on to rants. We like when you go on like
Okay.
and like political rants and stuff like that." Which, I appreciate. I really, really like that. Makes me feel good. That makes me feel good. However, so this semester, I am a journalist major, right? That's what. But I'm also a history major, and I do this radio thing on the side, and each one of them require like a different style, right? So like for journalism, like it requires the type of writing that you need to do that. It's concise. There's like a form. It's very formaic, and like your ability to insert essentially your voice is by what information you decide to include, right? So it's there. It's just you more the master of the knowledge, the information that you're passing through, and then but just as importantly, I'm a history major, right? And a history major, and I don't like telling people I'm a history major because history has like taking these history classes, and I can actually graduate with a degree in history next semester.
But you don't want to do that.
Well, yeah, because of the GI Bill and things like that, I have to
need money.
graduate. Well, I have to. They'll stop paying after the degree, so I have to graduate with both of them at the same time, the same semester. So, but as a history major, right? Like I've realized, like, oh, I don't know anything about history. Like I know zero about history. I mean, these are specialized fields and stuff like that. So I don't like talking history, and I don't like talking history either because it's the same. Like people care too much about American history, and they don't know American history. So like, and then people like have this weird like emotional attachment, like oh, our forefathers were really good and stuff like that, which I'm not debating or whatever. But there's so much more that's happened, and plus American history is relatively short, right? I keep trying to tell that to people. It's only been around since 1776. You know. That is, teenage years as compared to the other countries, and there's so much more out there. But history writing, right? It requires you to do, again, it's engaging, and it's really particular, but you have to make sure you're hitting all the details right? So you're giving information, and you want to be able to get accurate information, but you want to paint a full picture. So it's not as concise as in journalism, and it's much more elaborate, a lot more wordy.
If leave out some key details, it definitely changes the whole landscape.
And which is what you're not trying to do, right? You're not trying to do that in history. And then radio is my outlet to be comedic, right? I want to be comedic. Now these are three different styles, and I'm trying very, very hard this semester to have three separate voices. I want when you read my journalism, when you read my history, when you hear me on the radio, those are three very different types of voices. And I would like to combine them. I would like to move them. But before I can do that, it's very important to me that I do a good job mastering those forms. And I am in no way close to any of that. So, no,
good job, man.
No, I appreciate that. That's fine. But it very much, it's very important that I separate those two. And in terms of like political rants and things like that, I have that. I'm in a quandary, if you will. I want more comedy in my history, or I'm sorry, in my opinions piece, my journalism, and I want more like political stuff in my comedy, right? So I want to combine them, but I'm not good enough at those separate entities to really develop that. So I'm working on those three things individually while not trying to combine them. And I know that sounds weird, and I appreciate
mastering the craft, but you want to master them so you can effortlessly combine them.
Right, and that's important to me. And I know, like for my opinion pieces in the newspaper, they're boring, right? I see it when people read it, their eyes glaze over, like, and they're meant to be boring. They're not meant to be boring. So I'm trying to figure that out. And plus, if you want political and news rants and you want to know my opinion, obviously read the paper. But if you would like whatever, the interpretation of that via however you're listening as to whether it's on the radio or Facebook, midterms are coming. That information, that new stuff is coming. So this is more of a relaxation, because once midterms are really into full force, we're going to have to talk about it. You can't not talk about it. So that is coming, but I'm very much trying to separate the three styles this semester. That's a goal of mine. That's probably going to be a goal for this entire year. And then once I get closer to graduation, which will be the semester after, I'll mix the three, except for history. But so sorry about that. That was a rant, right? People like that. That was kind of a rant.
Give people what they want.
So, So when we come back, we are going to talk about. I had a controversy. Ooh, this is going to be good. I want your advice. I want to know what Jeff would do in this
Oh.
situation. So we're going to come back to this, and then you guys, please stay, because this is. I think this is important for people to hear. So when we come back, I'm going to talk. I'm going to complain a little bit. I never complain, right?
No, never.
That's not something I do.
Yeah.
So after this transition, son of a gun. After this transition, we'll be back.
Yeah, I thought you had it. That was a good one. I thought you were gonna do it after that one. That's a good one, man.
Dude, it's this work thing, man. Like, they message you. Oh my gosh.
No, you're right.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'll be fine. They send me a million messages, like a million messages, weekends, holidays, but whenever I need something. Oh, oh no, my auxiliary's up. Shoot. Oh no, wait, no, it's supposed to be up. My microphone's supposed to be there. Oh,
Definitely gotta give him a quick shout out when we get back on. And you. Dude, Tim goes crazier than you do. We got a couple of drinks over at Moonlight. You just kept pouring. I'm like, oh my god.
see, I don't know why. Like, we covered the Moonlight, so why wouldn't we they covered the Voodoo? Like, I don't know why.
Because it's owned by Duquesne.
It is?
Well, Moonlight is.
Is it? I thought it was a separate franchise.
I was
I don't know.
I'm not 100% sure, but you figure, like, were you there when we talked about culinary? I'm like, there's probably a good reason that they don't actually teach us culinary, because then that's less food to Chick-fil-A, whatever the other place is. Which I feel like they don't know what's going on, but when it comes to that sinister stuff, like, no, just pay for our food. But I thought it was like a franchise. Regardless, it's on Duquesne, so like
Sure.
they're
Of
getting
course they're getting.
they're getting
yeah,
a
they're
slice of
getting
that pie. Whether it's the whole thing, a quarter, or even just renting, like they're getting something.
for sure, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. I think that's why like Chick-fil-A's are like the go-to, just because they're so profitable. They probably charge them like an arm and a leg to even open up there.
Ready to go back on?
Let's do it.
All right, welcome back. Now that's a transition, Jeff.
It's a nice
I've
one.
never heard a transition. Okay, so all right, let me know what you think about this, because okay, so I'm writing a story, right? This was last week, about safety for on campus, right? So I mean, and so the first place that I start is at the safety center, right? Which
Right.
is we have
Yeah.
a new, I don't know if you know this, we have a new police chief that heads that.
Yeah, I saw it in the paper actually. That's all I knew.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you saw it. So I went to, now I've done interviews for almost every department in Duquesne, right? So, but when I reached out to set up an interview with him, or the safety center, I had to call a phone number, right? So I called a phone number, or I called the safety center, and they said, hey, you have to call this phone number.
Oh yeah.
So I called that phone number, and that phone number was a voicemail saying I had to call a different number. So I was like, is this the Veterans Association? Is this the VA hospital? Like, what, I just want to talk to somebody here. So in order for that to happen, so what I end up doing is I end up talking to public relations, right? So I'm talking to public relations, and they tell me that I can't sit down and interview the police chief, that I have to submit my questions in writing and email, which is which,
The Gazette or something.
well, that seems really weird. And I did mention, this is student journalism, like this is part of the paper, like that's a request I've never heard before. I asked my faculty advisor. I guess that's protocol for this type of procedure or whatever. So that's fine.
Oh.
So, and then the communication. So he doesn't answer all my questions, right? So he gets to
course
pick
he
and choose which questions he wants to answer,
Of
which not all of them were answered. And so the paper, we end up putting it until next week, right? So because we did a profile on him. Now, mind you, the police chief did sit down to do a profile on himself and allowed 3 hours for that, right? So you can do 3 hours for a profile, but when you have another student asking you about safety, you can only email, right? So I thought that's weird.
Yeah.
So he does respond, and then he emails me back, right? The Chief Holmes emails me back,
All right.
and I think that is and then he says, a big part of safety is communication. And then he gives me his email address. So I'm thinking that's like a way in. So because I have another week to do it, I have more follow-up questions. So I send him directly to the police chief. I ask him, hey, and I do my research or whatever. And believe me, you should do your own research on the police chief of campus safety. And we can go into that if you want. So I asked him more questions, and then he ends up, I don't even ask him questions. I just asked to sit down and talk with him. And then he takes that email, sends it back to the publicist, and now I have to get everything I want to ask has to go through a publicist, and I can't get a sit down with him. I'm a student publication, and I'm asking about student safety. I feel like it's important for a publication to let all students know, or an information here that's available to them that hey, this is what you could do. Or this is what you should do. This is what UCAN wants you to do in case of these types of emergencies. But for some reason, 15, 20 minutes can't be set aside to sit down and talk with me. And I think that's weird, right? I think that's really weird. And I do want you to know, like, it's not hard, right? You can Google the new police chief, and you can see what his past is. There's a reason he's a policeman at the university, or he's working at the university, not a police station. And the reasons are on the internet. So if you feel so inclined, Google Chief Holmes and see what he did in, I think it was Lawrence. It was in Ohio. So why he doesn't work there anymore. So again, and I'm not here to rabble feathers or anything like that, but it kind of put like a bad taste in my mouth because I'm thinking, okay, I can push this interview a little bit, but I still go to this school. I don't want my next year and a half I don't want to be denied access in the future. I don't want to be messed with by the 127 police facility. And it really stunk because I would ask individual policemen, right, guys who have no problem talking about, talking my ear off for 15, 20 minutes instead of just writing me the parking ticket. But all of them all redirected me to this this PR guy. Why can't you sit down with a student publication and talk to them?
Is this PR person affiliated with Duquesne? Or is
Of
it
course
just
they are. Yeah, of course they are. So I guess, again, I have to learn tact. My ego's been part of this, right? I wanted to write, a very pointed email, but I didn't, right? I asked my questions, which they still haven't responded to, and I don't think they will. They are not the easiest questions in the world, but they're very fair questions. And I don't know. It just kind of
does
when you
like
operate in a bubble, right? Because that's what this is. Duquesne is a bubble, right? It's I don't want to give up access for if I burn this source and then another person can't use them down the line and stuff like that. I don't want to be responsible for that. So it was kind of.
I mean, I don't think you'll get the opportunity to burn that source just because you got to get through the publicist. They're either going to answer you or they're not.
Right.
You don't have that choice.
Right, but I don't want to ruin somebody else to have
I
a
get what you
conversation
mean.
with
Right.
for that. So it kind of opened my eyes a little bit. Like that's, and again, these questions, it's not a hit piece; it's a fluff piece. So everything,
Can you give me one? Give me one. Give me an easy one. What was one of the ones that you asked, if you don't mind me asking?
Which questions I asked him?
Yeah, give me one. I'm just curious.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, absolutely. And
hopefully it doesn't. I mean, it's not going to ruffle anything, right? They're
No,
not
I mean,
gonna-
I'll give you one that I'll give you the one that he
Give me
answered.
two
I'll
to
give you
lay
the one he didn't answer,
All right.
and then I'll send you or I'll let you know
Oh,
the ones that I sent most recently. So there's two sent. Yeah. What is being done to ensure the safety for the student body?
so I'm assuming you answered that one.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, and then
Which, yeah, of course.
how
you
much
answered
in
one.
terms of budget is allocated to the safety department? He did not answer that one.
Okay.
So, and then what advice do you offer for students about safety? What has the safety department done to adjust students with less restrictions to COVID? So he did answer that one. He has not answered. Where is Duquesne's jurisdiction in terms of campus? What happens if the incident occurs on Forbes Avenue, Fifth Avenue, or any of the public streets a student might use to get to Fisher or Mendel Hall?
That's a good question.
Right. I think the students should know that, right? Why? How is that hard? I spoke with a lot of students. It seems like a lot of first year students know what to do and they feel safe. Some even have the campus police phone numbers memorized. However, it seems that students that joined Duquesne during COVID are not as familiar with the procedures. Is there something that is being done about this? Also, transfer students do not seem to be as aware as first year students. So again,
That's
these are
okay.
legitimate questions. There's nothing. Just sit down and talk to me. And I know you have time because you set a 3-hour time for a profile piece because it was just about you. Just sit down and talk to a student journalist. That's all I want.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Yeah, those are like very good questions actually.
Right, and I'm doing it tactfully. I'm asking, in very, I'm using very, nice language, and I'm not mentioning, anything that that shouldn't be done. I mean, some of these topics are hard, right? It's hard to talk about active shooter drills. It's hard to talk about sexual assault. These are topics. But if I can't go to the police chief and ask him, who can I go ask?
Questions.
And if I'm a student, if I'm an 18, 19-year-old kid, right, or a young person, excuse me,
Know this.
and I don't know, I feel like that information should be this should be a process of flowing information, not restrictive. Right?
Absolutely.
Just my thought process, and I may be wrong, and I could be. Maybe this guy is so busy protecting Duquesne and writing parking tickets, having his 126. It's actually only 39 officers. That is one officer per. I just did the math. Every 130 students. So, maybe I could be wrong. Maybe there's something else.
Does that
going on.
include the security guards?
Yeah, it's 30, so it's 32 officers and 8 security guards, or
Oh, wow.
730. It adds to 39,
Gotcha.
but 125, I think, personnel is how he answered that in the email. So excellent. So, Jeff, what do you think?
I mean,
know you're
there's
friends
a
with
small.
you are friends with these guys, right? They're good people.
I mean, there's a small chance he could be actually busy. I'm not gonna deny it, but
Sure.
But the fact that he got back to your other questions,
Right.
you can't be that busy.
Or when I sent him an email, he forwarded it to his PR.
You're right. So who maybe is busy, but maybe he's got stuff to do. Maybe he's doing more than those parking tickets.
And that 3-hour profile.
Right.
Maybe.
Maybe,
Hopefully.
because those are some you definitely do need to start working on that stuff. Because I transfer student myself, I don't know what they do.
Right.
I don't know the full extent. That's why I try to be friendly that way. If they ever see me working here, late hours, oh hey Jeff, how are you?
Right.
And then boom, keep moving. Hey, I'm alive. Please make sure someone didn't stab me and leave or something.
Right.
Hasn't happened yet, but that's a good point. Especially there's been 3, I believe was on Fifth Avenue where 3 girls got their butts slapped by people, and that's do we call the police? Do we call you guys? All right, that's a good question because it's happened 3 times last year or last semester.
Duquesne
Yeah,
has great policies.
Yeah.
They have they'll escort you. They have the blue phones. There's a lot of good things out there. Let's get that information out. And the
Right.
best way to do that is through, I feel like a student pub, through the Duke.
Right,
So just holla at your boy.
right. We're
Holla
trying
at
to
your
be.
boy.
We're trying to give you that good image. Come on.
Yeah. And I don't know if people know this. My take on the police is not favorable. I do not think that I'm definitely in that camp of decentralize and allocate their funds elsewhere.
Oh yeah.
I don't
Hey,
think
man,
any
yeah,
police
yeah.
department in anywhere in the United States needs a Humvee or riot gear. And I think that a lot of them, I think, have proven time and time and time and time and time and time again how inadequate they are at their job because we don't require them to do any sort of testing or training and things like that. And I have a hard time believing that you leaving a police force and working for a university, that all of a sudden you're going to start doing more training. I just don't think that that's how that works, especially when you take a pay cut to be on the police force at the Duquesne rather than the Pittsburgh Police Department. So
Yeah, they need more money. We need RoboCop. We need RoboCop.
we sure do. We sure do. So that was my rant. That was cool, but it's cool because I get to like these. This is kind of something that I think these kinds of occurrences will happen in the real world, right?
Yeah.
When I'm doing, journalism for paper and stuff like that, and how to go through
Who
that.
do you call for help?
Well, like in terms of like getting somebody that's not talking to you or won't go on the record and stuff like that, and how much do you want to push, how much do you want to pull, like that kind of stuff. So it's a really cool experience. I'm really happy. And again, listen, if you're a student and you're listening to this, you should feel safe on Duquesne. Like I think you are one hired gun essentially for every 135 students is a wonderful number. There are those blue telephones that you can use.
Telephones, there's
They
buttons.
light up.
Yep.
They let you know. All you have to do is pick up and push the buttons. There are phone numbers for you to call. You can get escorts. It's a very well lit campus. It is really like a community. After dark, it doesn't become Duquesne University. It becomes Duquesne Village.
Yeah.
And you should feel safe on campus because they are doing. I don't know how much money. I'm going to assume they're allocated a lot of funds toward it. So don't think of this as like you shouldn't trust Duquesne police because you should. They haven't given us they have, but for the most part, they're there to help you. And every police officer that I talk to off the record,
Usually pretty pleasant.
absolutely pleasant, very fun, very approachable, very
Yeah.
very friendly. What you would want in a campus police. So again, this isn't a hit piece. I think they're doing their jobs. So well, I assume they're doing their jobs.
Right.
So I just think law enforcement. We just need to reshape it in this country. So RoboCop would be cool.
Yes.
So when we come back, okay, yeah, no, that's good. We're on time. So yeah, when we come back, I'm going to talk about rest and relaxation.
Oh, we need that.
Look at that transition.
I know.
That
It's
was-
already relaxing, man. Whew. What's the guy's name again?
Ernie Holmes. No, it's
What? Ernie? Because we had a guy where I used to do security at.
Eric Holmes.
Eric. What part in Ohio?
I forget. It was like it started with an L.
All right,
Lebanon, I think.
Oh, probably should have, right?
It took me a while to find it.
And this is the guy we got now, huh?
I meant, you know,
Yeah. Okay, so maybe he needs that PR guy then, or gal, whoever it is. Very curious about that budget now. That piqued my interest.
they will never give you answers about budgets. I knew that when I asked that question.
Yeah. I'm guessing.
I
that was
didn't
the
know
hopeful-
that, but-
I'm guessing that was the hopeful. Maybe.
If they want you to know numbers, they will tell you, but they don't. I was doing an article about something about the distribution of some kind of funds last summer, and I had to, like almost subpoena records. Like it's such a process, like there, which is fine. I mean, some of that's available online, but like for certain things, well, even like their police reporting, like their reporting of crimes and stuff like that is. There's some liberties that can be taken in terms of, well, did it happen on university or is it a Pittsburgh thing? So there's, there's ways to get around all of it.
Yeah, Chris was saying the same thing on like the suicides, how they like fudge the numbers and like kind of sweep it under the rugs and shit.
Sure. Oh, yeah, well, in the military, they don't have anybody to hold accountable. Like, they don't, eventually they do, but,
Yeah, that's swept under the rug.
Poor kid's parent, a kid whose parents are poor, right? And something bad happens, like, there's not going to be a lot of pushback.
No. Here's your SGLI money.
Right.
Go be quiet.
Right.
Go somewhere, or else you won't get this. Like it's pretty much just dangling over their head.
Sure. Once again, we are just murdering these transitions, just doing a great job with them. So, all right, hey. So I came to a realization: being broke is expensive.
Yeah.
It is so. It stinks.
To us.
Oh my gosh, I don't know how. Like, oh my gosh, it's. How do we still have like 25% interest rates? Like, how can we live in like? And I'm not a religious person, but isn't there something in the Bible about like interest rates? Like, you're not supposed to charge a certain amount. Like, how can we, as a Christian nation, look people in the eye and say, for every dollar you spend, 25 cents is going to a bank?
There's a reason that among murderers and a whole bunch of other people always hated tax collectors. That was an insult, tax collectors.
Sure. Yeah. Right. No, I get it. I mean,
I get it too now.
I'm definitely for higher taxes, but in certain situations, not you people, not you. When I say higher taxes, I mean billionaires. You're never going to be a billionaire. Not even higher taxes on millionaires, just billionaires. But again, you're never going to be a billionaire ever, unless you're born into it. So, or you have lots and lots of millions of dollars and you exploit somebody. But anyway, but yeah, it's tough. Oh my gosh. Like,
Yes.
so I was behind on some things, right? So this summer, I think we both kind of went through the financial struggle this summer. Is that wrong? And like,
That's correct.
I hate talking finances. Like, it's such a faux pas. And like, you feel like when you're not good with money and when you're right, you feel like you're inadequate and stuff like that. And I maybe I am. Maybe the truth is I'm just an inadequate person, or things like that. But it's tough. And then so I get behind, and then I have to call and like so I have to catch up on things or whatever. And then that's like a whole process. And like when you try to, get things right, like I feel like they try to get you not to do that, right? Like they want you to stay behind because they want to charge you, so they make it a little bit harder. They put a little bit of resistance in there to be harder. But credit cards with high interest rates, late fees that are insane. Like I'm looking at some of these late fees that I had, and again, listen, I took the money. Right, when you take credit, right, I am taking money with a promise to pay it back.
Needs money, so let's just kind of dig that hole a little bit deeper.
Right, it is extremely expensive to be poor. I didn't, and I for some reason I feel like it's, I want to use the words predatory, like it's right, because if you had the means, you wouldn't use these kinds of avenues. But if you don't have the means, and this is your only sink or swim method, you're creating a level of debt.
Where else are you going to go? You're going to go to the guy next over there? Sure, fine. You'll be back.
Right.
That's it. You'll be back.
And again, and I know, listen, but I know money responsibility is important, right? I know to be responsible and things like that. But sometimes things happen, right?
Yeah.
Life happens and something comes up or whatever. And if you're already making like really low wages already, and then something happens to shake that foundation, you could be in this cycle of debt that could take years, if ever, to get out of.
Right.
We need to do a better job
Yeah.
with that. How can I still don't like? I was in the car industry for a while, and high interest rate loans were kind of like our thing. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't our like the dealership I worked at. They were dealt with all types of people, but it seemed like for a while there was a sweet spot almost with high credit loans with high interest rates,
Right.
and you look at these student loans and things like that, and charging 8-10% loans for something that you absolutely nobody can afford college, right? If
No.
you are a normal human being with middle class, and I guess how you define middle class, but in a traditional middle class family, it is very, very hard to afford college. So you're given the choice of either, and you can say get a job and work through it. Fine, that's a cool thought experiment, but how the heck are you going to afford not only living, like to be sustained, but shoving away $22,000 a semester? And
How are you
then,
going to survive on the books alone?
Right.
If you've had to buy books for a campus recently, they're expensive.
sure, absolutely. And so it seems like, okay, so if I want to, and then you're going to say, well, go to a less expensive school. Well, the quality, okay, so it just doesn't seem to fit, especially somebody who has, who wants to be something, right? If I want to be a doctor, right, I can only go to a certain amount of schools, right? And I can't go to a community college, to
You
become a
get your
doctor.
bio, your Kim's out the way. That's it.
Right.
You need more than that.
So you come from a family with modest means, and then you have to take these student loans, and they're going to be 8 to 10% because that's the only way you can pay for them, 8 to 10% loans, and then you have to pay that, and then you never pay that back, right? Because you're constantly paying on these interest rates. I didn't realize this, but 3.5% of the which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is huge. A part of our GDP is student loans. 3.5%. That's insane.
Right.
That's such a high number. And what's going to happen is a lot of these students that incur this debt will be unable to pay for it. So we're going to see a fallout in two separate ways, right? We're either going to see kind of what happened with the housing market in 2008, where people just can't afford the default, and then these insurance companies, because these student loans are insured, will end up crashing, right? We could see a similar situation in 2008, or what could happen is that the generation that incurs all this student debt will stop purchasing goods, right? They will stop. They won't have the disposable income to advance the economy. So all these businesses that thrive on, selling you things, or when you have an entire base of people, an entire generation that is dedicating much of their hard-earned money towards these student loans, you're going to have that kind of recession-like economy decrease, and that's coming. It's not a matter of I'm telling you, that's coming unless something really happens. Now, how we fix it, I don't know. I'm not sure how to fix it. I have ideas on how to fix it. Who pays for it? That's an argument that needs to be happened, and those are fine arguments to have. But what we need to realize together as an American people is that this debt thing, this student debt thing, is a real problem. It is a real pressing issue, and that roof is starting to leak, and it is going to be sooner rather than later where that roof is going to fall through, where the debt is going to be so heavy that the little bucket to hold that water isn't going to be enough, and you're going to need a swimming pool and swimming trunks to get out of the debt that is coming. So that's coming, and I hope and I get it. Everything's partisan and everything's politics, and I don't agree, but I understand, I didn't have to pay for it or whatever. And those are fine arguments to have. And maybe we should have those arguments. But let's fix the student debt issue first, and then we can assess plan, right? Because that's a pressing issue, and just like global warming, or just like climate change, right? We can keep bickering and arguing about this stuff, but eventually it's going to come to fruition. So, and again, those are apple and oranges types of conversations, but it is very, very much coming to light. Are you taking any student debt?
No.
You didn't take any
Trying
student loans or
not to,
anything?
no. Trying to live off of this GI Bill. That's why. So I actually went to community college and got as far as I could, and then that's when I decided to actually use the GI Bill.
Could you have graduated from community college with the degree you wanted?
I think so.
Okay.
So I switched to general studies just because I'm like more like credits, like general credits. I'm like, that's what I want, because I actually started out as an IT degree,
Sure.
/ like help desk. There's a couple specialized ones over there. I think it was networking and IT. But I was like, instead of doing that, why don't you start branching out, getting some of this like low hanging fruit credits, that way you don't have to pay for them when you get to university, because it's the same class no matter where you go. That's one thing one of my advisors kept saying. No matter where you go, Point Park, Penn State, wherever you go, it's all the same class. They're not changing the curriculum. It's the same class, taught by the same professors.
Okay. Well, that's
I know that's a little hard. Yeah, I mean, glad everyone's getting that same education, but it's the same thing, but just take away Pitt's logo, put Duquesne's logo. Take away Duquesne, put Penn State. Put whoever's logo you want. It's still the same thing.
Yeah, and I guess and you do wonder too, like when we go out into the real world, where you graduate doesn't matter. Like I feel like if I tell somebody I graduated with a journalism history degree at Duquesne,
oh, that's nice.
Where's Duquesne?
Right.
I think that is going to be the question.
Where's your work ethic? And after that, they're going to stop.
You don't know who Duquesne is? They just covered the spread against Florida State last Saturday. All right. You know what they say? Good teams win, great teams cover. So that's good. Good job, Duquesne, Duke boys, men, for having to play on ESPN and kind of lose a lot. But hey, they're Division I, right? Those guys are, really good. Well, I don't know how good Florida State University is. All I know is that their fan base is horrible. They are a horrible fan base. Anybody from Florida is really, we should. People say give Texas back to Mexico. I say give Florida back to Texas.
We can do a swap or something.
Let's just cut it off, right? Let's do that.
Wall it off.
Sure.
If you want to go to Florida, now's your chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you want to leave Florida, now's your chance. We'll do a complete prison swap.
So I think what we learned about student debt, I think everything that comes to fruition in this conversation, is that Florida State University and their fan base, and anybody that would date anybody in that fan base, horrible people.
Indeed.
Right.
I'm glad we can all agree on that.
Right. I would think terrorism, and then USC fans, and then Browns fans, and then Browns fans post Sean Watson, and then Florida State fans. I think that's a fair. I think that's what we're getting from this conversation.
Indeed.
Excellent. Hey, when we come back, we are going to talk NFL. We got a new starting quarterback in Pittsburgh. He is the man. So when we come back from this,
we're gonna have to get another locker room tour.
Ooh.
You're gonna have to keep talking though.
Oh yeah, because you told the guy that you were taking care of a dead soldier who was still alive.
To be fair, you didn't correct it either.
I didn't know. You were so confident. Plus, I wanted access.
So did I. Oh, look at that transition.
Yeah, it took me forever.
Oh,
That was perfect.
look at us. Have you been getting the election text yet?
Oh my gosh, so many.
I know. I just keep getting spam. Like, I get it, guys. But please leave me alone. You got my vote. I'm going out to vote. I'm fine. The one is the people that get over excited. They have a script. Like, hey, are you interested to vote? Yes. Do you know where your Yes.
I like to keep on the phone as long as possible.
Oh, dude, that's my new goal. With this no energy at all. Just, yep, nope. Another funny one. Went to a little festival, like alcohol and like music, and there's this scam artist. They're just a scam group, and they like, hey, put your information in. Put your information for a raffle to win a trip to insert place here. Get a raffle ticket here. Concert tickets. And guess what? I won. And you just have to go out and sit through like this crazy. You got to sit through this crazy presentation. I took Jasmine out there the first time, and
How's she doing?
she's done good. I'll tell you what I asked about her. We sat through it literally, so we went to Merlot Mall, and we just sat through this like 3-hour presentation to get an iPad, or not iPad, a Amazon Fire tablet.
Was it worth
Piece
it?
of- No. I mean, it was funny just messing with these guys, but I'm like, okay, this wasn't worth the time. But just they're trying to sell you the timeshare. They're trying to sell you this
Oh yeah.
good deal of sharing a vacation with other people. It was the craziest thing. The craziest thing.
3 more days till Friday. 3
Uh-huh.
more days till Friday.
Finish this week strong.
All right, so starting Thursday is going to be the NFL is back. The NFL is back. So what I'd like to do now, Jeff, let's get some predictions going. You want to do some predictions?
I think you might be better than I am, but
You're
it's,
right. Well, I am an amazing football player. That is-
I know. I've heard
Whatever.
very
Yeah.
good stories about that.
Yeah. I mean, yes, absolutely. All right, let me ask you this: starting quarterback Mitch Trubisky for the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? From Chicago, made playoffs, right? I think he made a Pro Bowl his rookie year. Didn't have a very good staff, right? Didn't have, everybody hates that Coach Nagy. And then had sat a year behind Josh Allen, who's, some consider the best quarterback in the NFL. Now he has been given, or some would say earned, the starting position for the Pittsburgh Steelers. However, you have the hometown hero. You got Kenny Pickett, who also looked very, very good. Now, there are reports that he doesn't practice very hard, right? Like he doesn't shine during practice. That when the game's on, when the lights are on, guy goes out. He's got that clutch gene, as Coach Tomlin so eloquently put it. However, you got Trubisky, right? So let me ask you this: not injury, do you think Kenny Pickett sees the starting lineup in the NFL this season?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I'm gonna say yeah.
You do?
I think so.
When do you think it'll be? Time frame.
I think I'd say third game.
You think third game? You
Third
think after
game.
I think that's the Patriots. They open up. That might be. Oh no, I don't know.
I'm gonna see. I
Third
don't
game might be
remember.
Cleveland. Third game might be Cleveland. I don't know.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
You think by the
Cleveland.
third game?
It's just Cleveland.
I think Trubisky. Now I think the offensive line is going
Third
to
or fourth, depending.
that offensive line is going to be horrible. The Steelers are not going to be able to get offense. They're not going to be able to have good time with receivers. It's going to be a struggle every time that offense. Their defense is going to be on the field a lot. I think Mitch Trubisky. I think any quarterback is going to get hurt behind that offensive line. I do think Pickett starts. I think it's much later in the season, 12 after the season. I think they give Mitch all the leeway in the world. I don't think he has a leash, barring injury. I think it is going to be a slow progression, which doesn't mean it's a bad thing.
Yeah,
Right.
Take your time. That's fine.
You're going to invest a lot of money, a lot of draft stock into Kenny Pickett. I'm fine with letting him wait a year.
Yeah.
Coach Tomlin's never had a losing season. Do you think this is the year?
Nope.
You still think he
Nope.
wins?
Yeah, he's gonna be good still.
Well, I think their defense is going to be better than it was last year. They got Miles Jack, who is, I think, worlds better than Schobert. I'm not giving up on Devin Bush. I know the media likes to crap on him a little bit, but I don't think that's anything. I mean, he's not, first round. I don't think you give up that stuff for him again.
No.
If you redraft, you don't draft him in the first round. But I still think he's a back. That defensive line, I think, is going to be better than it was. Remember, the Steelers were 32nd in the rush defense last year. I think they shore that up. I like their secondary. I think that secondary is going to do well. I don't believe they're winning division. I don't even know if they're going to make the playoffs, but I do not think they're going to have a losing season. I think they're going to surprise some people. I think they're going to win some games they're not supposed to. I think they're going to lose some games they're not supposed to.
Yeah.
Which is very much part of the course. All right, let's go this way. Who do you think is more attractive? Coach Tomlin, who we were in his locker room, in his office area. Because you lied and said Soldier died, and
Airman.
and Aaron, I'm sorry. Or do you think T.J. Watt is more attractive? Like of the attractiveness, like
Give me Tomlin.
you get okay. I meant Omar Epps. He's a wordsmith.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. I'm going to go with TJ.
I was about to ask.
I'm going to go with TJ. Right, that is.
Any particular reason why?
He's just an animal. I like. I think he brings that like a defensive grit, and I really like. Which I'm a sucker for a bad boy, I guess you could say. So James Harrison's one of my favorites of all time. Super Bowl winner, right? Got anybody in mind? Any preseason? What is your pick? Who is going to win the Super Bowl this year?
I mean, I'm gonna obviously say Pittsburgh, but
Sure.
yeah, Pittsburgh.
You think Pittsburgh's going to win? I love it.
What do you think? What do you?
I
got?
love it. 93.7. I think the Bills have a really good chance. They have the best, one of the best quarterbacks. I think they have a really good defense. Barring injury, I think they're really good. I don't think LA repeats. I think the Ravens are going to be really good. I'm really worried about the Ravens, them being a rival. They had so many injuries last year. I mean, there was one practice, I think, where they lost all three of their running backs or something insane like that. They were using,
Wow.
and I think Lamar Jackson has a lot to prove. That contract situation, I understand where he's at. And I think he's going to have a Joe Flacco-esque type of run in the playoffs. I don't think he's the world's best passer. I don't think he's the prettiest passer, but he is a playmaker. The Ravens do scare me a lot. They would be my dark horse. Oakland looks really good. I think the winner's coming from the AFC, unless they just beat each other up in the playoffs. And then my NFC pick would probably be Tampa Bay. Their defense is really good. Their head coach, it is something to be said. So I think that's Minnesota. Also, I think is going to surprise a lot of people. I think Minnesota is going to open up. I think Kirk Cousins is going to have an MVP like that.
Give me one. What's the one that you think is going all the way?
I'm going to say the Bills if I had to. I'll say
All
the
right.
Bills if I had to. Gun to my head. Well, guys, that was 8:59. Sorry it took so long. I don't know why it took us so long to get on. I was messing with the computer a little bit and stuff like that. So, for my friends and family and fellow Duquesne people, please listen to us via the radio. The links are in there. I really don't want to do Facebook anymore. We have a YouTube channel. I think I would much rather do that. Maybe Instagram, but we're really trying to get rid of the Facebook. It's just a pain in the butt, and I just want to delete the app. I don't.
I just keep it just because.
And then, like during midterms, it's going to get even worse, and I just don't want to be around that.
Yeah.
So
Smart man.
yeah, so we're going to try to do that.
Yeah.
But what's my catch? Oh, all right. Well, Jeff, anything else? Anything before we go?
No.
Do anything cool this weekend? Well, it's only
I just-
Tuesday. Got anything
That's-
crazy going on this week?
This weekend now. But we'll see.
Any plugs? Any Veteran Center plugs? Anything you want to shout out?
Ooh, let's see. If you ever get the chance, crumble cookies. They're very good.
Crumble cookies. You heard it from Jeff actually surprised the Veteran Center today. Got a
Oh yeah, red velvet
oh
cookies.
yes, yes. So velvet cookies and read the
Yeah.
Duquesne. And hey, listen, if anybody out there write for opinions, it's the best. If you have an opinion, I don't care what it is. I mean, this week my opinion's about the transformation of comedy in Main Street. Like that's my opinion. Like it doesn't have to be political. I just write a lot of political stuff. But
No.
yeah, whatever you feel. So
You sure? What's something you want to see from the folks out there? Come on, give me something. What's an opinion piece that you would like to see?
oh, anything. I don't care. Like whether you think these new these ATM or not ATM, but these manless.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
So in Duquesne, what happened is that there's these like little centers or whatever where you can buy food and snacks and things like that. Well, they replaced the people and put them with little like checkout machines, right? So it's a good thing because they're open 24/7. They still, there's still a person that works there during the day. So I'd like to hear someone's opinion on that, right? It's something that affects us everybody every day. There's arguments for it, there's arguments against it. I want to hear it. I want your voice to be the shining sea that makes Duquesne the red and blue. What's our colors?
Yeah, you're right.
Are they red and blue? Just red and blue? I feel like they would be like ruby and navy.
Sapphire.
Sapphire.
Get in there. Yeah. Sapphire, gold, ruby.
Is that for real or
No.
Oh.
Well, it's red and blue.
it's red and blue?
Yeah.
So I don't know what that point of that was. But all right, guys. Well, hey, thank you so much. We're getting out of time, and I don't want to get yelled at again. So be good to each other.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
Ooh, with the trip.
With oh.
Yep, last Facebook stream. I will say I did not figure out how to do the Instagram one. That one was challenged.
I feel like you need to do it on your phone. I feel like that's
fine.
the only way.